Welcome to Chamber Chat. I'm Cheryl Dietrich, president of the Pere Area Chamber of Commerce in De Pere, Wisconsin. This episode features events, sponsorships, and community, and how they intersect. We will also talk a bit about our upcoming 5th annual Taste of Wine and Beer event. For many organizations, especially nonprofits, events are a very important and often sole source of revenue to cover such everyday expenses as staffing. These events aren't made successful just by the attendance of guests, though that is important, but they depend tremendously on the generous support of sponsors. But you may have wondered, like I did in my early business days, why would a business sponsor an event that isn't directly related to them? Or if you are a business, you may wonder again, like I did, what's the ROI? Can I justify it? Does it make sense? Hopefully after the next 30 minutes, some of those questions and more will be answered. Our guests will give you a local perspective on what we have coming up, but also a broader perspective for all communities in Wisconsin. Taste of Wine and Beer is held at the Marq, a beautiful banquet hall just south of De Pere off Highway 41 and Freedom Road. The Marq, formerly known as the Apple Creek Inn, was acquired last year by Festival Foods and is a 4-time finalist and winner of the Green Bay Press Gazette Best of the Bay Reader's Choice Award and in the Best Catering Company category. The property went through a $1.5 million renovation earlier this year and is now simply gorgeous, and we are so excited to return Taste of Wine and Beer there again this year. Todd Schreider has been supervisor of wine and spirits at Scoggins Festival Foods for 13, going on 14 years. In his role, he works with vendors and customers, so has a unique view of both the internal and external operations of the department and his store. He works with us on our events as well as other nonprofits. Todd is based in Fond du Lac. Really appreciate you coming in today, Todd. Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you for the invitation, and we definitely look forward to participating in the Taste of Wine and Beer.
It was a great event last year. Last year was our first time at the Marq.
Yes.
Apple Creek Inn still at the time, and you guys were great to work with and brought in some great vendors. So
you definitely saw it in the people, with the
Yes.
event and how much they enjoyed it, and so many of those events before been for people that want to go and just taste wine. Now they're getting much more into the education of wine and what each winery has to offer.
Exactly, it's going to be, and you guys are going to be involved with us in helping doing the pairings with the wines and the cheeses and the foods that are there. I think it's going to be a great addition to the event.
One of the renovations of the Marq is we have a corporate chef now as well, as well as a master chef. So they play an integral part in how we pair our different foods for the different events that we do with the wine and the beer, and our wine and spirits managers in the greater metro area also have a lot of experience in that. So we definitely look forward to that.
It's going to be a fun addition to the event. We're looking forward to it. One of the things that we really wanted to bring in this month was to talk about Wisconsin wineries. And wineries, of course, I'm from the West originally, and everyone knows about California wineries and the Napa-Sonoma region. But most people don't think of Wisconsin as a great haven and mecca for wine growing, but there's a lot of wineries here, and in fact there's an association, the Wisconsin Wineries Association.
It has taken off. You used to be able to hear just about 1 or 2 different wineries in the state of Wisconsin, the Von Steels, the Wollersheims. Now there's 36 wineries actually in the state. 36? 36.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Wisconsin is a tough culture in terms of growing grapes for wine. The soil is different. The winters, the frost creates its own set of problems. So to have 36 wineries in a state like Wisconsin, where you normally think of Washington, New York, California, is just fantastic.
So we have some wine to go with the beer and cheese now.
Yes.
That works out really well.
We definitely have some wine. And more of Wisconsin wines have originally been known as the sweet wines, the fruit wines, whether it was a cherry, whether it was a cranberry. Now they're getting more diverse and really getting into the Cabernets and the Merlots, the different Chardonnays, the different blends that really could bring out the taste a little bit more than just something that's sweet and thought of as a dessert wine. Now
you mentioned when we were talking earlier about the production of the wines here and how they're done. Can you share some of that information with us?
About half of the wineries in the state grow their own grapes. So out of that, they grow about half of what is needed for their juice to make those wines. Okay. So they're growing grapes on property. They get about another half of the wine, the juice, they outsource from the states like Washington and California. They use many different fruits in some of these wines, like we just talked about. Apples, pears, honey, cranberry, cherries, I think you name it. The state of Wisconsin has probably tried it. They grow about half of those on site as well. So half of the grapes, half of the other fruits for sure are grown in the state of Wisconsin, which is great for the local communities. great for the local economies.
Exactly. Agribusiness is huge here in the state of Wisconsin. I think most people just think of it from the dairy perspective because of us being known for cheese, but there's so much more that's grown here. And the first thing I noticed when we moved here, in fact, we came on vacation, was all the corn. So I knew about that, but not as much about the fruit until we were here and learned, of course, the cranberries up in the way northern part of the state, and then Door County cherries. But
obviously, Door County plays a huge role in the wines that are produced. The Door County Peninsula Winery does a fantastic job integrating those into their wines. Parallel 44 here in the area, Von Stiel, Captain's Walk, Kerrigan Brothers, take what is available to them, use it to their advantage, and the wines that they actually offer are fantastic.
Yes, they are. We love going up and taking tours of the wineries. It's funny when our family comes here, and most of them are again from Northern California and Nevada. We take them to the wineries here, just like when we're out there. We go to the wineries there. I think that says something about our family, but I don't really know what yet.
They say a typical Wisconsin winery gets about 7,000 visitors a year.
Wow.
Most of that is within state.
Okay.
But you made mention of the Wisconsin Winery Association earlier. I Google Wisconsin Wineries Association all the time on the computer because they have such great things on their website. A website that'll come up will be wiswines.com, WISWINE.com. And it provides, just like you said, the tours, a tour package for you, a tour planning guide, what different wineries have what different wines. Each of the 36 wineries in the state are represented on that winery association website. So it's a great tool to be able to use to kind of discover what's going on in our own state.
Are they distributed, the wineries, are they all over the state, or are there more here? Or?
There's pockets of them, but they are all over the state. So you have a pocket up here. You'll have a pocket down towards Milwaukee. You have a pocket in the western corner of the state, and then it goes all the way along the Mississippi up until the border Minnesota, right by Lake Superior. So there's little pockets everywhere that these are concentrated on, where the soil obviously can help with the growth of the grapes.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that they were all over. I would have thought they were different.
It's broken down into 5 regions within the state. So. You look at the map and they pull that all up. So it's definitely something that the Wisconsin tourism industry has needed. It's something that is, the Winery Association received a grant, I think in 2008, to help them develop the internet site. They also have a paper brochure that they give out at their different events. So
great. Yeah, I think, we have the agribusiness side, and then there's the retail side from the wineries themselves and the people they employ. But I think the tourism side gets completely underestimated. People don't think of coming to Wisconsin to tour wineries. Again, they think of that for California. So from my chamber hat perspective, plus from my tourism as a tourist perspective, those are really great things for our economies.
And we're seeing that more and more with outside people from the state of Wisconsin that come into our stores and start to ask about some of the wines that we carry from Wisconsin, and where can they go see these, and what can they go do. We see that more and more.
How many of the wineries do you feature?
It can vary by store. Our Wisconsin sections are ever growing. I bet you we probably feature at least 7 to 10 per store. We'll feature different wineries out in our Onalaska market. We'll feature different wineries up in Eau Claire. But here in Green Bay is probably right around 10 wineries that we pull from all over. Woodland Trails, 3 Lakes, Von Stiel, Captain's Walk, Parallel 44. It's a pretty diverse group.
That's great. Switching topics just a little bit here about sponsorships. Again, we hold our event at the Marq, and you guys are very involved in bringing us vendors. Had some great new vendors last year. It was a tremendous addition to the event. But you had said that you guys do 20 of wine and beer events throughout the year?
Pretty close to that.
Wow.
The big, we start probably our year probably in February. Each community that we're involved in seems to be having a wine or beer event to help raise money for the local, either their chapter or how they could support the charities within the cities. We've had them in Appleton, we've had them in Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, Green Bay, De Pere, Eau Claire, Onalaska, Marshfield, between the beer and the wine, that they've really taken off. And like I said earlier, it has switched from just going to an event to just drink wine to an event where you can learn something about the wine itself, which the education aspect definitely plays an important role.
I think that people really enjoy that, because I think most people don't have any idea when they're at a restaurant or even in the store. They look at wines and they think, what does all that mean? And they read the beautiful descriptions about its heavy notes of this and followed behind that. And I think I'm relatively well versed in drinking wine anyway and knowing kind of what I like. But I read those and I think, wait a minute, so what does that mean? What is that like? So,
exactly.
Very interesting.
And as they go to the wineries, they start to learn a little bit more of this because they talk to winemakers that are on site. They get to see the whole operation. Where the Wisconsin wineries aren't a big commercial operation like your Franzias and your Kendall Jacksons, where you're getting tour guides and you got people going in and out. You get a lot more one-on-one attention from the people that actually make the wine, that can answer your questions, and people in their education stage learn more about the wines, which then lead them to purchase more of the wines.
Yeah. It's a great connection, and one we're really looking forward to expanding on this year at our event.
Oh, most definitely. I think that plays a huge role as we go forward.
I think it's going to be great. Well, thank you again for coming up today. I know you came up from Fond du Lac. Really appreciate it. And I'll
Thank you, Cheryl.
see you a lot over the next month or so.
You bet you. Greatly
Thanks,
appreciate
Todd.
it. Thank you.
De Pere has been